Oh, nice lady. Thank you, nice lady. That will give everyone a few more minutes. Good to see you, Aaron. Today. Oh, I got more pictures. Okay. Ooh, is that a nebula class I see?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the nebula class. Oh, I'm very jealous now.
And Akira.
And the Akira. Nebula's my favorite.
Well, no, mine as well,
Yeah.
ever since Rabbit Hole.
It's great, yeah.
It-
But
it
the
was-
whole Reliant, yeah.
It was the first
Oh, good.
ship that didn't look like him.
Exactly. Yeah. Totally good. All right. Grab a seat there beside Ron. We're just about to get started. So first point of order, we give Jeff and Frank all the right? Any to-dos that come out because they're not here.
That's just a given.
Well, that's what I thought.
You always hope for the guy that's not there.
I know. Yeah, I'm looking at these pictures. So. Let me get a picture. Yeah, meeting's being recorded. All right. Very hard. Okay, we're going to get started then. Have notes from our fearless leader. So regrets from Frank and Jeff. They're both Frank's wife had her knee done over the weekend. For complications. She's fine now. She's at home. We're making him run around, ringing her little bell and making him run around. Because I was thinking we might. So far, it's just Ed and Kevin, and then Jeff, Jennifer. They're off at the cat as well, but it just means you got the two best guys. Okay. All right. So I know we had a couple of people expressing interest at the show about joining. You have any new faces tonight? Nope, looks like everyone's already okay.
Stuart, you keep fading out.
Oh, sorry. Helps if I stick the damn thing up, right?
Yeah, there we go.
Here, I'll put it actually on the lapel. And that way I'm not like keeping my hands busy. Thank you, Ed. There you go. All right. Okay, IPMS Canada report. Frank asked me to pass along that Frank is joining the illustrious. Can we say illustrious? Okay, the illustrious IPMS executive. I'm not sure what role yet. That's still to be determined from what I gathered. As we discussed last month, Carrie, after many years of awesome service, has decided to step down and take a break, and we thank you for your service. Do we know what Frank's doing yet, or is that still up in the air? Okay. Any other last things that you've heard about from IPMS Canada?
There's things in the works.
Perfect. I gather that's always good. Things in the works. For those of you who are members, you would have got the awesome decal set from the last RT. That was very good. By the way, Carrie, if you want to send feedback back. Steve's always, they always do great stuff. Another great reason to join is you get the RT, you get those awesome decals every year. So those of you who aren't members, please do. Also, if you do become a member and you weren't before, can you please let Jeff know? Because we do want to, we like to have so many members as a requirement. Just keep our chapter in good standing. We have so many members and we'd like to know. That way we can just match up and see, okay? Okay, show committee update. The show committee was hoping to meet in the last week or two, but life happened. So we're not meeting until next time. Basically, Bill, I guess, Bill and Bill, actually, I guess we can say we've done very well. We're in the black. You want to start,
Yeah,
Mr.
we
Webb?
are in the black. After all is said and done, that's the wrong one. We are in our. Too many. How am I gonna pour my Learjet if I don't scrape off you guys?
All belongs to your wife anyway.
That's true. All said and done, we started off with about $3,800 in the account before we started the show, which I found was a little bit on the thin side with the cost of everything having gone up since the last show. But we now have $6,207 in the account, so we did all right. I am going to advocate for us having a much bigger kitty before we go into our next show, because I don't think anything's going to get cheaper. If it hadn't been for some of the corporate sponsors that came through early this year, we would have struggled paying deposits on things this year. So, but all in all, did good. The raffle table did really, really well. The entrance did good. Hoping for better, but I'm an optimist. So, but no, it did really good. So the fact that we were basically $2,500 up over what we started with is a good sign. I have no complaints whatsoever.
Very good.
Okay. That's good. 403, I believe. Is that correct, Adam? I think we had 400 and, well, you're the judge. Didn't you count them personally? No, it was, it might have been a little bit higher at the end, but it was 411. Okay, low 400s. Yeah. Unfortunately, we couldn't find the clicker in time, so we don't have a total attendance. So we're going to have to estimate based on some of the financials. But all in all, it was regarded as very positive. The location, you want to speak to that?
A lot of people gave us some feedback that they really enjoyed the location. They enjoyed the setup. They particularly enjoyed the help from the club members that volunteered to help them get their table set up and to help tear down. We left the place spotless, and the college was really impressed with how we left the place and how we acted throughout the whole day. So I think we stand a better chance of having an even better event next year. And as for the attendance, I've been thinking about, I think it was you who mentioned it, Bill. I think it just needs more advertising to the general public. And I'm going to start looking at different things and how we could do that, whether it's posting in like the different library branches, finding advance, like maybe a month or two in advance on different cable, doing a little interview with the local cable station, trying to promote it to the general public and get more people interested in it. Yeah. 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 And there's a lot of radio, a lot of stuff that the CRTC requires some of the stations to do local, to advertise local events. So if we can utilize that more next year. Yeah. And I happen to know the manager of that station. So, or the manager of the holding company that owns the station. So I think I could pull some strings there. He's been a longtime friend for about 40 years. So yeah, in their community. So stuff like that. But I think we accounted ourselves very well in that show. So that's all I have to say.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff. So this is what we're going to say. We wanted to get back on our feet. The show, we did that very well. It's still viable. So one of the things which nicely dovetails into the next thing Frank and Bill wanted to talk about is we want to talk about the pros and cons about having a show next year. So just a little bit of background. Normally, Ottawa has their CapCon every 2 years, and we have our show every 2 years. And normally, we don't have them on the same year. Okay, because we delayed ours to this year, we were actually in Ottawa's year. Okay, they fine. They had a great show on the weekend. I had one of the show committee members on the podcast on Monday. They had a great show as well, but we always try and do that. Now, Frank is in discussion with Ottawa's IPMS president, see what we can do. Now, one of the options we might look at is having a show in 2024 and then going back to the 2-year model every 2 years. Now, the only thing about that is we're gonna need more volunteers. Like, we had 5 people doing it. It was great having everyone there on the day, but we need more help. That is the most important thing. So we're not making a decision tonight, but I really want you folks to give some serious thought to it. You know, volunteers during the organization.
I think with the 5 people, I think that's great because we have 5 people managing specific topics, and where we would need the extra help is people to help delegate different responsibilities to, and that would take a lot of weight off of the POC for each specific topic. And so that would be my suggestion for the extra volunteers. We can create not just one person to do it, maybe 2 or 3 helping that one person. So there'll be like groups of 4 for each specific item that needs to be managed. So committees.
That way, you know, one of the big things we have, you hear about with model shows, people burnout. It's very easy to happen. So if we have some institutional knowledge, every year we try and document even more. It's even easier now, thanks to the internet. We've got all the charts, all the figures stored, but it does really help. So just give it some thought, okay? I believe Frank said we're gonna do a go, no go by the end of the year. You know, it's always popular. People love our show, but we really have to decide because, you know, like Hamilton has a whole committee, because if you run a show every year, you're perpetually in planning mode. And unless you've got a huge volunteer base, that's very difficult. You know, for the volunteers this year, it was a lot of time spent over the summer, spring and summer, getting things ready. So just, you know, all I can say is just keep that in mind. Okay. Now, we are going to solicit feedback on pros and cons. There'll be a separate of the show, everyone's opinion. Like, I know food was a big deal. Obviously, parking was this year, stuff like that. Jeff will probably send that out in an email. But like I said, the show committee is meeting next Tuesday to kind of go over the post results. But overall, yeah, as everyone seems to have said, it had a really good time. Dave and Mary and Frank's daughter did a great job on the raffle table. And oh, if apparently Frank's son has a horseshoe up his ass, because I gave him my tickets and then I started winning to start, you know, while I was busy. Same with Frank. Apparently Frank says he's always been like that. It's like my mom. She used to win the meat raffle all the time at the Legion. So yeah, so that was good. Okay. Speaking of the show, so who won? Any results? Anyone want to particularly feel? Awesome. Okay. Good stuff. I know, I've still got to post the individual winners. I will do that.
I got a third. German, I believe it's called Stud.
Awesome. Anyone else? Anyone else win, lose? Yeah, that's true. He did in the stealth ghost category. Yes, unfortunately, you couldn't be there, and you were missed. All right. You only bought 17 kits?
Only bought 7, but 4 of those were in 130.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. All right. Anyone else? Anyone else really bad at the vendors?
I bought.
Yeah.
I Orchid.
You're ready for your kid. I know you don't save top dollar.
Oh, no, I think I spent. I bought an Italeri Mitchell for $5.
Oh, geez.
And it was complete, but it was in the bag.
Yeah.
And I wanted a H/J, but I had bought a matchbox of that at Orchid.
Yeah.
I just threw it up. I sold it for what I paid for it. So technically I made $20 on
There you go.
Italeri.
All right. Anyone else with particularly any good vendor stories? I did quite well with Aaron. Aaron and I were good friends. I think I bought 3 or 4. Hmm? Yeah, it can be tough. We always tell people cash is king. Definitely. All right. Any other comments about the show before I move on? Will I take a picture of this? Anyone? Anyone? Bueller? That is very. All right, give me 1 second here, gentlemen. Yeah. Okay, there's also there's other shows. Anyone go to AirCADCon last weekend? Anyone? No? I was at the Yarn Show. My wife dragged me there.
I was there.
You were there? And oh, that's right, you were there. Ed, give us the skinny.
It was pretty low attendance.
Yeah,
There's a lot of empty spaces on the tables.
right.
So, but there's some nice stuff there, not, so
Good. And then there was also AirCADCon in Ottawa. Did anyone make the journey? I think Carrie did, right? Yeah, you did. Yeah, and how was it? How was the Duncan and Carrie Roadshow in Ottawa? Oh, well, yeah. Did the RCMP have to be called this time?
No,
Just the provincial?
no, very nice show. It's in the War Museum. so
Yep.
The atmosphere is very conducive for inspiration. Lots of vendors, even had a silent auction that Perry was successful at
Oh,
on a number of occasions, but
anything you wanna divulge?
not really.
No? Okay, that's fine.
I'll just say I've got some really good.
Awesome. Good for you. Good for you. All right. Good stuff. All righty. So any other show news? Anyone else go anywhere else? No? I went when I was in Paris, Ontario on the weekend, actually, because Frank mentioned this. Paris Junction Hobbies, they've expanded their paint line. And they have a few more things. So they now have a full rack of the AK, the general colors. So that's the same one the Gen 3, the Game Chamber has. But they've also got the AK real colors. Those are the lacquers in the military colors. And I don't think anyone, unless you got to go to Toronto or Winnipeg, has those closer. But they have a full rack of that there now. So might be worth a trip. It's a neat little place. They do a lot of RC and train stuff. Old school, not a ton of plastic, but again, they're really getting into the AK and AK stuff. So they obviously have a new best friend at AK. Yeah, I keep winding them. Yeah, I keep winding them up into the Tamiya lacquer. I keep winding them up. We'll hopefully get to it one day. We'll see. All right. Any other show news? Anything else before I move on? Nothing? All right. Meeting location. So, Frank, this is from Frank. We've negotiated an annual insurance charge for Fanshawe that lowers the monthly meeting cost to around $100. That's for the year. Sorry, the monthly meeting. Yeah, that includes the insurance. So room and insurance. That means Fanshawe's back on the table for consideration. He wants to have a vote on the November meeting, but pros and cons. So, pros, adequate and free parking, location is accessible. They're guaranteed a room and either upsize or lower it as we need it. More show, bigger room. The lighting and space could be better. And he just wants to hear people's opinions. No, all in, including every month, it'll be $100, including the room rental and insurance. Yeah, he negotiated down the insurance, $300 a year.
5650.
Yeah, so it bounces up a bit, but it's a bigger room. We can move to a bigger room. So yeah, that's what, and there was apparently a lot of people liked Fanshawe. So again, we just want to know pros and cons. What do people think? Yeah,
Yeah, a lot better, the lighting. is really way better.
yeah.
Wait.
You got the TVs on the side wall
Yeah.
too. Yep. We can probably,
We can do it ourselves, yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
Yep. yeah, we can move the tables. We were also kind of low, we were kind of in stealth mode, so that's why, yeah. But I think if we officially, go ahead, Ron.
Frank was saying. Shape that room any way we want, but some people had to stay behind and help.
That's right, yeah,
you
that's
know,
the only
move the
thing.
table.
Yeah.
Many hands make light
Yep.
work.
Oh.
If we leave tonight, if everybody takes one table and pushes it over
Exactly.
there.
It's like running a show,
done.
same
Right.
thing. Bobby, there you go, a lot of bus routes, there you go. All right, so just again, give it some thought. We're gonna vote on it next month's meeting, so. All righty.
What would that do to our students? Go there, no profit for our fee. All the stuff that
How do we have the club right?
Right now in our, regular account, we have $1,800. There is somewhere out there, another 360 some odd dollars from the refund from the, library from when we canceled the first time. They went back, but it went to Jerry, and I don't know where Jerry is. At this point in time. Is he still in Europe? Anybody know? Is he
Is he back?
Okay. I will touch base with him and see if he can get that to us before it's sale date again.
Yes,
We do.
and insurance.
It's part of it. It's the city, yeah. We pay $56.50 a month.
It's going up a bit, but it can accommodate.
I would suggest that if we are going over to Fanshawe, that our dues would go up slightly just to offset that. But
Yeah, because we have 18 now and we're coming up, two more months coming up, we're quarter,
yeah,
we're coming up to new due.
Yeah.
Yeah. the
we're all
club's
paid up
grown.
to the end of the year.
Yeah, so, yeah,
So we can call it.
Yeah. bingo. A nice spot to be in. As long as we don't go too much over the top, then people. Jeff would know that. I think we're up to 50 something. We're up there. We're 50 something. Yeah. Yeah, it's been growing. Yeah. Because what we know, the next big expense, we normally try and do the pizza party in December. So we need money for that. So that's the main thing. So yeah. We can do that as well, yeah. Exactly. I know, exactly. But again, one of the concerns is with rent and everything going up. So that's what one of the things the show committee is gonna talk about next week.
And as I said earlier, what we had in the city to begin with, we hadn't had the early corporate sponsors come in. We wouldn't have made our deposit. Our
Because the
deposits were
rentals-
almost- Oh, I know that, I know that.
Yep.
Yeah. So, what I want to avoid. So,
No, we still will look at that.
No, transfer it. I just want to keep a larger kitty protector. That's all it's saying. Looking at increasing.
Yeah.
Purpose of the show is, right?
Yeah, and that's one of the things at the show meeting is already on the agenda to be discussed. So we're gonna look at that, because again, if we can give some money over, then we may not have to raise dues, like, that's all gonna be discussed, yeah, exactly, no, I agree. I agree. Potentially as well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, because that was the thing, all the show organizers, rent went through the roof, insurance went through. Both here, US, Australia, Europe, everyone is paying a lot more to put a show.
Okay, we didn't have any.
Yeah.
Fun.
But again, we could have got, if we have a bigger committee this year, maybe we can do that. Okay, that's that. So show and tell table now. I think that's it. Yeah, okay. Oh, I'm gonna point out, we do have demos set up for November. Ron's gonna be showing off something. What are you doing? next month? Hot wire cutting. All right, and someone's doing December. Anyone know? Anyone remember? Okay, we got. Yeah, but apparently there might be another demo. I know, I know you can, yeah, yeah. We're gonna have Ron scan your brain while you're doing that in 3D. We'll have a 3D of Adam scanning it. Okay, on the tables. So we're gonna start with this wonderful contraption there, sir. So we're live.
So that's the fine molds tiger moth from Castle in the Sky. It's so that's one of the earlier Miyazaki movies, and I think one of the better ones. I've always liked that movie. My kids got me that for Christmas a couple of years ago, and it was kind of a palette washer for a lot of the stuff I've been doing. It's a really kind of neat kit. It's kind of odd in many ways. As you can see, there's parts that are really detailed, which made me not start it for a long time. For instance, believe it or not, in the little living area underneath the balloon there, they have a full interior for all 3 rooms. And I thought, well, that's kind of silly because you close it up and there's almost nothing to see there. And so I opened all the doors. I cut open the doors and showed them open. And then I went to town detailing it inside. Like in the one room, there's pictures on the wall, and I cut out little things to put the images in the picture frame. You can't see shit. So it was a waste of time. The only thing you can see is the pilot section up front. I detailed that and I put some photo etch ship stuff in there and things to make that look better. You can almost see it. But it looks really neat. There's a lot of things wrong with it in terms of how I put it together. It really fought me a lot of the way. The little crow's nest on top of the pilot's thing got crushed. And I had to replace it with wire, which might have made it look better, but it was a pain. So all in all, it's a really neat kit of a really cool subject, but it's not an easy one to put together. What's that?
Okay, next up, we have a couple of starships. So
Somebody muted the mic.
how about now? Hang on.
It's good.
You hear me now? Okay.
Yep,
All right.
hear you now.
Wasn't mute. That's weird. They're trying to make. So yeah.
It's radio silence again.
Well, I don't know. If I pinch that,
You heard somebody say about pinching. What are you guys getting into down there?
okay, sorry, it might be pressing buttons that I'm not supposed to be
Ah.
pressing.
We can hear you now.
Yeah. No, yeah, say, yeah, a second favorite class of ship, you know, and I really like the kits.
They look very good.
Thank you.
Ron, as usual, go on.
Okay, here's the little diorama that I've been working on for a while. And that's the Adeptus
Wow.
Mechanicus Tech Priest in the middle. I took third place in figures at our show with that one. And
Nice.
since then, I've painted up these Skitarii Rangers that I printed. And some of the details on those things are just crazy. That came out on my new printer. But they were a lot of fun to paint up, a lot of different metallic colors. And I use all Citadel, Game Workshop paints on those. And the metallics are pretty good in that line. And there's so many different colors of metallics. Like you got about, 4 or 5 different gold colors, 4 or 5 copper colors, and everything in between. So it's a pretty good range if you're doing anything with metallics to give it a try. And all of them were brush painted, but I did try some airbrushing, just a test piece with some of those paints, and they airbrush quite well too.
That's fantastic, Ron.
Just regular airbrush thinner. Yeah. Or water, because it's water based. I usually use like a little bit of water with a little bit of flow aid in it. No lacquer stuff. No, you got to stick with the totally true acrylic latex paste. And that's the dragon head that I've been working on for a while and painted up. It was a lot of work to do all the blending between the colors from the dragon skin to all the horn and bone and everything. And the eyes were a pain, but I figured out an easy way to paint them somewhat, and they came out pretty decent. Yeah, yeah, they're big, and that thing is big enough to put taxidermy eyes in. Yeah.
Do the intro.
Yeah, I've been working on some tracks for the that Panzer with the rocket launcher on the back of it. That's my 1-year build. Made a little jig to help assemble those track links, as they were 3D printed, and then there's a pin for each side that is different for each side that had to be inserted in. And once they go in, they fit in tight enough, they stay in there, which is good, and still allow the track to flex somewhat. It's not as good as some of the commercial ones you can buy, like the metal tracks and stuff, as far as like it being able to drape. But when I put them on the model, they'll look okay. And then in the bag, if you want to pick that up and have a look at it, there's the pins and track links in there, so you can see how teeny those things are. And then you can bring up that milk can. No, it's the printer that's showing off. Yeah, and there's handles on that milk can that came out
just crazy. And then the bucket, I mean, the bucket is like, you can see through it. It's so thin, the material that was left when it was printed.
Just, yeah, take a look. Next time we're gonna.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's next? Mike, I think, is it?
Actually, that was right beside.
Oh, okay. There we go, Michael.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm
that's
gonna-
what made me beside me.
So I'm just gonna.
Oh.
Yeah,
There you go.
it's my continuing adventures with the old vacuum form kit of the Cambria. I have some 3D printed fan jets that aren't perfect, but hey, it's just going to be a thing on a stick, so I'm not too worried about that. But during the construction of the wings, I kept fondling them and then looking at them and go, something's not right here, something's not right here. And it wasn't until I actually had them installed and sat back and looked at it head on and said, oh, the hand drill's all off. And I went back to my 3-view plans, printed off a little template that I had beside it and laid it on top. I went, oh, yeah, look at that. Laid the template on the underside of the wing and it matches the plans. So it's almost as if whoever made the molds did it upside down. So this afternoon on the port wing, I've cut the wing off, made another little spar to correct that problem and glued it back on. And if you want to muck around with the head-on view and the template, it's all sitting there and you can see it. The tip tanks, I made those with blue stuff that I think I was first introduced to from Tom, I think a few years ago. Oh, look at that look on his face. Maybe it wasn't Tom. Okay. And they turned out reasonably well for my first attempt at forming. And that's it for me. You can stay there, Stuart. Michael, get up and stretch his legs. Just direct me to where I'm going.
Bobby?
Hold on, Bobby. You gotta have this. Don't eat it.
Okay, thanks, buddy. Don't hit the blue button. Yeah, these are two kits. Well, I've got a couple of kits that I made with when my mom was alive. We buried my mom June 22nd of this year. And but when it was COVID from 2019 to 2020, some of the kits I built while I was looking after dementia and Alzheimer's. And so anyways, both these kits are snap kits. There's the TIE Fighter and good buddy Don, remember he built the TIE Fighter, so I told him I'd build one too. So there's the TIE Fighter. And then the Mark Martin Valvoline car is snap kit too. It's old school, the Valvoline car, but yeah, look, he comes up pretty good on the scope there. So yeah, that's pretty good. But yeah, it was just basically a wrap car because the decals are all wrapped, so you just sticker. You pull them off a sticker sheet, stick them on the car. So yeah, everything just came out pretty good. But yeah, that's I didn't bring them all. I just brought the two, but the next maybe next month I'll bring the two other ones I built too. But yeah, so I promised the guys here and Stuart and Greatness Larry that I'd be here I spent 3 months to 5 days cleaning out a storage unit, and Aaron can vouch for that because he was one of my neighbors. So but everything's going good. I got my stock. My stock is in my my apartment. I'm gonna turn as I was talking to another model club member, I'm gonna turn my my apartment into first ever model shop. So thank you very much. Thank you guys.
Don't hit the button. Um, that is Zvezda's BF-109 F4. It's a one more of my models clearing off the shelf of doom. This particular model I started in 2016, and it's been start to stop for a long period of time. So this year I'm trying to finish off all these shelf queens that I have. So I finished this off in September. George is not here tonight, but some of you may remember a few months ago, George had brought a Messerschmitt out that had Mickey Mouse on the side of it. And he pointed out at the time that the Mickey Mouse figure had a pair of shoes. And this airplane's in the markings of the same pilot, a guy named Karganiko, who flew up in the north of Finland. And the Mickey Mouse had shoes on it because he belly landed an airplane deep in the tundra, and then he walked back to base. Well, this is the airplane that he belly landed in the tundra. And the plane is actually now in the museum in Ottawa. If you're up in Ottawa, the actual airplane is there. But this was the airplane that he crash landed and then walked back to base. So as you can see, there's a very small Mickey Mouse on the nose, but no shoes. As far as the kit goes, Zvezda does a very nice model, very accurate, but the Russians have a tendency that why do thing in 2 pieces when you can do it in 7 or 8? So there's all kinds of add-ons that you have to do to put this thing together. So part of the reason it took so long to finish is the challenge. Considering that the airplane is designed to have an open nose if you want, it's much easier to put an open nose on it. So there's, I think, 5 pieces to make the cowl forward of the firewall, and they wrap around an engine with exhaust pipes mounted on the engine. So everything has to line up with each other. So it was one of those things that I kept putting it off and putting it off, putting it off. But I wanted to get this finished so I can get back to building some of the other 109s, one of the Edward 109s that I have. All right. Godzilla and Gundam.
That is the Good Smile Motoroid 1/60th scale Pat Labor AVX Type 0 prototype in the series Pat Labor. It's basically a police unit that takes care of labor crime in Tokyo. It was a nice little kit. Bandai did a kit 30 years ago of it that was definitely shows its age. They're both in the same scale, but this one's actually smaller and actually at the proper size. The Bandai one was probably because of the way construction was back then, because that one was very finicky in spots. Yeah, we can never figure out why it was so big on that one.
Isn't that where they attached it in the carrying the trailer, or was there a big sort of socket?
That one they never really had the carrier, but the intakes on the chest, part of that would clamp around it, over it and around it. Although this one with the special one, it was the only one version of that built. A lesser version of it called the Peacemaker wound up being built. Like some white. Gloss white from Gunsy. And gloss black. Yeah, that one was all Gunsy. Yep, and that's my Godzilla. Working in the second part of the build. Godzilla seems a bit small compared to the Godzillas you've been seeing. That's because he goes in the actual fight scene with this Ghidra.
That's pretty cool.
And the Ghidra is basically 13 inches tall by 10 inches wide with the wingspan and longer with the tail out and everything. And the third part will be the actual diorama, considering it is a specific fight scene. And from the Godzilla Final Wars, which movie wise, it was the 50th anniversary Godzilla. And they put a little bit too much into it. So the story is very fragmented and chaotic. Yeah. And that's exactly what this one was. Giant monsters constantly fighting in various versions. Basically, it's going to be like the monster, somewhat probably what they based the MonsterVerse series on.
Also the last Japanese movie where they had people in suits. No more suits after that.
Yep. They it was a nice little fit rather fairly well, the kit, the resin kit. The one part of the chest, though, actually not chest, the arm actually had a gap, a gash in it that was about 2 inches long that I had to fill.
Oh,
Not sure what happened there, but and I got a little bit lucky on the spine. The most of the color, like I used the tire black as the base color from Gunzi, but I used the Panzer Ace from Vallejo, the Periscope, as the bluish highlights. And even though I had given it about a week to dry, when I went to do the gloss coat, I decided to brush it, and I wound up tinting the spine. But that sort of was okay with Godzilla because he does sort of at times have that blue tinge, usually when he's about to breathe, but I decided, that's good enough. I like it. Okay. I thought about, redoing that part, but decided to keep it. And now I just got to finish building all the rest of it.
Where'd you get the kit?
I got it at G Fest in Chicago. The at Kaiju Modeler at their vendors. And now we going that way.
wow.
Okay, this is based on a replica from the an actual truck from the oil sands. A guy had a 1954 auto car, and then put an up-to-date undercarriage underneath it. And I saw some pictures of it, and I thought, man, that'd make a great model. So a guy that I'd seen online had built one. It starts out with the AMT auto car dump truck kit, and you just use the motor and some of the undercarriage, but you got to stretch the frame. The cab is resin. The half fenders on the back are resin. The fuel tanks are resin. I got those from Keystone Aluminum in Pennsylvania. And then it was just time putting it together. And I'm still working on the hood. The hood is built in 3 pieces so that you can glue it together and just pick it up and take it off. But I didn't like that idea, so I've actually hinged it. So I got what they called a small piano hinge, which was another challenge all in itself to put that together. It's what do they call that? Not brass, but etched, photo etched. And you got to have a pretty steady hand and a good light and a good tool to work at that. But anyways, that all went pretty good. And so I've got half of the hood with the piano hinge. And then I bought some brass tubing to make the center hinge. So the hood on the driver's side goes up and the side flap folds in like it is there. And yeah, pretty interesting. Extra what they call float tires on the steering axle. Both of the tires that are raised on the lift axle are extras and will sit to the ground. So thanks.
Well done.
I think we got everyone, so we can hit the light again. So we don't have a former demo tonight. Yes, sir.
Somebody mentioned earlier about an interior. I spent a lot of time on the interior of that truck and then realized that it didn't have opening doors or opening
Oh,
windows.
that's normal.
And I went as far as the air brake buttons, both of them, the red one and the yellow one. Both done. Paid off the dash. Nobody can-
Now, did you take pictures of it?
I did.
You know they're there.
I know they're there, and I painted the quilts on the bed. Can't see it.
Awesome. Well, great job. Okay, so we don't have a former demo tonight, but we do have our 50-50 draw. And there is money and a book, apparently.
Yeah, buried under there somewhere.
Buried, or you better find it before someone shoots it. Okay, and then a nice looking book. And then some people, mostly Mr. Dawson, brought in a ton of other books and magazines. They're free for the taking. So there's that. And then let me just see here. I think that was basically it. Does anyone else have any comments, questions, general commentary?
Stuart, thanks a lot for the pictures.
All right. One thing I am going to say is I wouldn't mind if someone in the upcoming year can give me a hand with the AV portion, particularly with, what I really need is someone to take pictures and then immediately upload them to Facebook, to our IPMS group, so these guys can see them. And then we can also show them through the website. We do, not a lot of the other clubs quite go this immersive, but I do like making it available for not just people here. So it's something I like to do, but it does get a bit busy. So some additional help wouldn't go amiss, because my life is pretty busy right now too. And that way I don't have to feel like, oh, if I miss a meeting, exactly. So just again, something to give some thought. All right, that will be it, I think. Anything else from our Mr. Finance guy?
So, no, nothing pressing anyway.
No.
Sure we'll have more information once we have our
Show
with all
meeting,
the
yeah.
show people.
Yeah, we'll follow up with that. All right.
Yeah.
So we do have to pack up in about an hour because we got to put the tables away. Just keep that in mind. Yes, sir.
There may be a posting after the meeting.
Yeah. You bet. Always. Yeah.
Yeah. So Stuart, since I don't think I won the 50-50, I'll drop off now.
Okay, thanks, Kevin.
We're trying.
Yeah, thanks a lot again, Stuart, for everything.
Yep.
We'll put together a presentation.
We're gonna do all that. Yep, definitely. Yep. I'm just gonna mute the mic, Ed, because I'm sure you don't want to hear us, coughing and hacking and all that.
Yeah, that's fine. Thanks, Stuart.
All right, if we have to insult you, we'll let you know.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Oh.
Well, no, okay, but ago, I just felt there's this or but I think if we only have one, it would just be the same. That way we can actually like hardcore focus. Yeah, we'll put um oh like that. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Uh, this model. Yeah. Yeah. No. Yes, only because like it's mainly more extra on that. Exactly. Yeah, we can do it right now. I'm fine. I know, right? Yeah. Pretty much. Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. No. That's fine. Yeah. 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 And he's got the stuff at it as well. I put in a challenge. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hourglass, I think will keep because it extends the time of day and night. I think it'd be kind of cool. But I can make the night pass incredibly fast and then have the day stretch on forever. Yeah. Yeah. What else do we do for it? Yeah, I already got all those. You want that? I already need help. But I think these skills. No. Basically limit